It's an open question. What comes next in Iran? On that note, let's bring in Andrew Ghalili. Andrew's a policy director for the National Union for Democracy in Iran, and also Elise Labott. Elise is a veteran global affairs journalist. Welcome to you both. If you want to start us off, Andrew, on that question they brought up on successor. You know, it's interesting. This I mentioned this. That I was speaking in Istanbul with this Iranian dissident, essentially, guy used to lead protests there, and he right away told me, and you'll maybe hear this later in the show, that it's the Shah's son that he'd like to see, at least on an interim basis, take over as a leader. But in the meantime, in the very near term, who takes over as a supreme leader? What does it mean?
Sure. Thanks for having me on. So first of all, it's been rumored, of course, that Mojtaba has already been selected, not confirmed. We haven't seen the actual process play out. What I would say for any potential next leader of the regime, as long as it's emerging from within this system, it will not be able to change basically anything that we went to war with Iran for right now. It will not address any of President Trump's concerns between the nuclear program, their ballistic missile program, their funding of terrorism around the world, and of course repressing the people of Iran. Moreover, as well, they will not have any support from the Iranian people, who have for years, of course, made clear they want the end of this regime, but have also now, for the first time ever in protests in January, made clear what they want to come next. So as to your question of what should come next, they have only ever chanted for one name as a potential leader to bring them to democracy, and that is Crown Prince Reza Pahlavi. So I'm glad you're having someone else, another dissident, on to explain that to you as well. But yeah, I would just emphasize that what comes next, President Trump mentioned he would like to work with someone from within the country who has potentially popular support. That figure just frankly does not exist. What we saw 2 months ago was the regime massacre over 40,000 innocent Iranians. No figure that has ever represented or been part of this regime will have the popular support after what we saw during January.
Elise, feel free to add to that. But the other thing I would ask you about is timing, because I mentioned just when I was updating the markets that there were some investors kind of in their chatter today saying, oh, this thing might not drag on that long. I know you've been writing, essentially, I think, the opposite might be true. So, maybe pick up on both points.
Well, on who comes next, I mean, we know that the revolutionary system in Iran, it's not a dictatorship based on one man, the supreme leader. You have all of these the clerics, the military services, the IRGC, the besieged that are the ones that killed all of those people in the streets. And so, it doesn't, the system will continue to go. And if for the president to say, go out, go into the streets, there's not a big opposition opposition leadership. And they certainly don't have the capacity and the guns to go after the security that's still standing as of now. We know the Israelis, this is where they're going. We know they hit the besieged headquarters today, the IRGC headquarters today. I think we're going to need to spend a couple of days to see how this shakes out in terms of what's still standing. I think the goal is right now to try and get some breaks in the military of people that are still standing, to get them to move more towards the people. And we did see some reports about that during the protests, that there were some in the military that had families out on the streets, and they felt, regretful about the fact that this was happening. So it's possible. I'm not saying it's likely, but it is possible. That puts us into how long this goes on. Even if what happens in Iran and, the military targets are hit and, the Israelis say we've done all we can, the U.S. say we've done all we can, this is going to go on for a while in the region. We see the retaliation across the region. We know that Shia populations in these countries now are kind of rising up a little bit. And so I think even if there is, some kind of resolution to the question of Iran and the future leadership, I think there's going to be a lot of instability. I think oil markets can continue to be rattled. And don't forget, the Strait of Hormuz right now is effectively closed. That's interrupting a lot of shipping, a lot of oil. We're looking for a long period of instability, I think.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.